Sebastian for the Metal Gods Meltdown, and today I am joined by
Paul Sabu. Thank you, Sebastian.
get to be chatting to you. Banshee is a pure classic hard rocking album. How pleased are you with the finished product?
Other than the fact that they released it, like at Christmas, so it had like 4 days before the next year. So like it was a year old, and I had a bunch of people telling me that they wanted to put it up for best album of the year and like best Sonics of the year and stuff like that. And they said they couldn't because of the time frame that it was released in. I said, great, okay. So yeah, I'll wait for the next.
So, so on that subject, then, have you got a next album coming out this year?
Yeah, it should not this year, but it's gonna be out 24.
Right.
I'm gonna do like Banshee too.
So it must be a bit weird then, because like obviously you started out in the music industry early 70s, and then we went through the mad 80s. The scene's changed massively. Um, So do you still get excited when albums get released? What with Spotify and everything else?
I get excited about making them, and I get excited, when I'm talking to a friend of mine or something that and we're listening to it, But I mean, half the people nowadays can't even play CDs. You know what I mean? So it's nuts. I mean, they want it on a stick, or they want it, on vinyl or anything like that. You just like you're not carrying vinyl around. So they go, well, what, and the new PlayStations that they have don't play CDs. So like, all these guys usually could play CDs. They go to their kids to play a CD, and they can't even do that anymore. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
It absolutely is. So going back then, I mean, like you say, it was basically last year when that album was released. Did you have a release party and did you stream it, live stream it as after COVID? That was the thing to do, wasn't it? Well, during COVID, rather.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was it was streamed a lot, and I mean, it's like like within 10 minutes, it was on the websites that sell everything for free, and it's like so I mean, I know that like it's so several hundred copies in like 4 days, and then I didn't get a statement yet to see what is sold actually, so I don't even know what it's done, but it's like impossible to like keep tracks of that stuff because and there's five people collecting on one song for five different companies. It's not just it's like all these different people, and you can't possibly keep track of it. I mean, all the big labels have gone to a different company to pay the streaming stuff, so they're just totally out of it and don't have any responsibility to it. You know what I mean? It's like, so if you ever get paid, good luck.
Crazy days, mate. Crazy days.
Yeah,
So
it's living
are
the
you
dream.
glad? Are you, are you glad then that you sort of started in the music business back when you did, rather than these mad days? Because anyone can record music and make music these days, can't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, back when it was, music was, great and sheep were scared. It was like you had to, your band had. I mean, you rehearse six times, a week, and for hours at a time, and you put these kind of bands together, and you were, excited about it, and then because you had this competition with other bands, doing the same thing, and you wanted to be, the best you could be. It wasn't like, you're trying to outdo anybody. You just wanted to be good.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, half these people have never heard of rehearsals.
No.
It's like,
Or flyering or anything like that. I know it's just
no,
crazy.
no.
Yeah. I love the stories of the 80s where the bands used to put the flyers up in LA and then they'd be like ripping them down and putting them up, ripping them down. It was just fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's nuts. And I mean, my friend that and I who made the rare Barry Sparks, great.
Mm.
He's just a monster fucking player, and we've been friends forever, and we've been in a ton of bands together. We're both laughing at each other because we're going, "Hey, do you think we could? Can you play that song from start to finish?" It's like,
Exactly.
you make them in these in sections, and you're going, "Hey, let's change that section." And it's like, so you're going, "Gee, I wonder if I remember, exactly, how to play it.
Yeah,
If anybody ever asked me to play it from the beginning." It's
absolutely.
crazy how things are now. Yeah.
It is.
So
To go back to the album, all of the tracks obviously will be your babies, but which is your favorite today and why?
Um, gee, I kind of, I'm trying to think what I actually, I got several favorites on it, honestly. I
Okay.
mean, I just, I kind of like the whole idea of it because, I hadn't put one together for a long time and I kind of
Mm.
just, started putting one together. And so
Yeah.
every time I came up with, an idea, it was just one of those things where I go, I really like this, you know, and it was cool to do. And my main problem, on doing the album was when I did it with Frontiers, um, they had, they were pretty heavily into the A&R stuff. So like
Mm.
some of the things I liked, they threw the songs out. And
Right.
and so it was like very, Frontier picked, as far as
Yeah.
like, the way they, picked their songs. But I don't think they were wrong. I just, it's like it was one of those things where it just definitely had to be, the formula that they do.
Yeah.
And so but you know, from everything on, I just kind of it's kind of like one of those things. I don't really have any favorites. You know what I mean? I just like the album. There's like a lot of
Brilliant.
cool stuff on it.
Brilliant. So can you tell me what's the craziest thing you ever done in the name of rock and roll? You live in near Mexico, so you can tell us.
Yeah. Let's see. The craziest thing. Uh, the craziest thing. Okay, is this music wise or?
Yeah, music wise. Let's keep it music wise. Yeah.
I think the craziest thing, as far as just having to run into weird stuff that you'd never normally run into was working on Shania's record. And I was up in Deerhurst, which is a place up in Canada
Mhm.
that seriously, you know, they haven't weeded out any of the animal life up there. I mean, they're thriving up there.
Yeah.
And we were writing a song, and I came up with this new idea. I said, "Hey, you want to write this song?" And so I said, I played it to her on the phone, and she goes, "Oh yeah, let's write that." So 2 minutes later, I look out the door, and there's this moose on the porch. I mean, this giant moose. I mean, have you ever seen a moose? They're like elephants. I mean, they're
Yeah, man.
huge.
Yeah.
So I call her back real quick and I go, "Hey, there's a moose here. Get the fucking moose out of my fucking." It's like it's gonna come in. And she said, "Oh, don't worry. If you don't move, it won't hurt." I said, "Don't move." I mean, I'm just like it's the box. I'm in a box. You know what I mean? Just because it was these little cabins,
Yeah.
and I'm going, where am I going to move to? And so I said, get your ass over here. To get the, so. I mean, and she's like a pretty, like kind of tough little girl
Yeah.
so she came over and got and she was okay with the moose. She evidently had moose problems before, but that was like one of the most unusual rides. And also to get to this place, I mean, I don't want to just say that this is the most unusual thing in music, but this was one of the scariest things. Was to get to this place that she was at was there was this mountain road, and I don't know if you've ever been to Disneyland, but
No.
there's this they got this ride called Mr. Toad's, crazy ride or whatever it's called,
Hmm.
and it's like where you're almost going off cliffs all the
Mm.
time. And
Yeah.
she drove this truck, and she was giving, we were driving up there, and she was driving. The truck was way too big for her. You know what I mean? It was like one of those
Yeah.
giant trucks, and she's just, a little girl sitting behind her, and we got like 4 feet of road, and like in 10,000 feet of cliffs, and it was like, I mean, you talk about just an experience of like whether you were going to actually make it or not. I mean, this is kind of one of those things where you weren't sure exactly how anything was going to turn out. Whether it was ever going to be an album or not. You know what I mean?
That's
But
insanity.
yeah, that was one of the more daredevil kind of things that I can, comes to mind. I'm going, yeah. The rest of it was kind of, just normal music stuff, but um, that would be up there with one of the craziest times.
Sounds great, man. Sounds fun and scary. So, of course, then you've worked with many icons of the rock and metal scene. Um, is there anyone though that you wish you'd worked with but not had the chance?
Oh, you know, I, I wish in the wrong time period. I mean, I wish I could have worked with Hendrix. I wish I could have worked with any of those. You know what I mean? Those are the idols that you find later. When you're growing up,
Yeah.
and and Gary Moore. I wish I could have worked with those guys. I wish could have worked with Jeff Beck. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
the things that really mattered to me. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the guitar stuff. I mean, I I did work with Prince, who's a monster at
That must have
everything.
been
You know what I mean?
amazing, man. That
I
must have
mean,
been
that
amazing.
guy, and and it's like they're kind of like he's kind of like uh, I don't know, man. It's like anything he picks up, he's
Mhm.
just great at. It's not like one of those things where he has to work at it or anything like that. He was just so talented, and he had his quirks, as far as like everybody
Mm.
else did, like he never, like the tape recorders never stopped. You know what I mean? It's like there's this, you had to have like, a giant moving,
Yeah.
trucks to get all the tapes that, he has on all his sessions and stuff. But, you know, that was a guy, but like, I would have worked with I would have loved to work with all the guys that were heroes that,
Mm.
I never did, mainly because of location, and they didn't have the same kind of, way of making records anymore. It's like now they have so many programs to make this, and the new programs are such that, I don't particularly like them as much because I kind of cut my teeth on analog. So, then I had to learn digital, and I'm going, oh shit, this sucks,
False. It's false,
but
isn't it? It's false, really. I mean, it's a bit like really when you think about, I don't know, Kiss. Sort of, they've gone on and on and on, and I mean, obviously they've used backing tapes, and it must be difficult for you as you're probably a bit younger than Kiss, like Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley. Is it hard when you see them still sort of, no, making a lot of money when they're not really putting in the full performance? Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like they're definitely living on, kind of some borrowed time, and
Mm,
they're also living on, like just things that they've done rather than things they're doing,
yeah,
and but again, they're like they should have, a leniency to that too, because they are what they are and they did what they did.
yeah,
So I mean, you kind of love them for both. You wish they had, it's kind of like when you see actors half the time and they make movies, it's like, and all of a sudden you see them 15 years later and they like, like it's just the same it's like it's just not even the same person, like he
yeah,
was
man.
the hero in this one and now he's a, like a sidekick of a sidekick in this
Yeah,
one. It's like they kind of everything kind of degrades,
mm,
a lot, and
yeah,
you kind of wish that you didn't actually see those parts. But
absolutely, man.
I always thought, for myself, I always had, just a simple thing. When I can't do it anymore, I'm just going to stop. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to do what I did, or
Mm,
not do what I did, or anything like that. When I just don't feel like it anymore, and I can't hit the notes or whatever, I'm just I just say, hey, I can't do it anymore. And not make a big deal out of it.
yeah.
But but I haven't hit that point yet, so I just keep doing it.
Well, definitely not with the last album, man. Honestly, it's brilliant. So what would you then say is the reason why for your longevity in the music scene? I mean, what's made you and kept you going over the years?
Um, just I kind of never stopped. It's like I kept going from one thing to another to another. I mean, I did everything from stage shows to uh, just working with I got to be a mixer, and I got to work on stuff, and you learn a lot when you work on other people's material,
Hmm.
because you kind of everybody has tricks, and
Yeah.
everybody has a little thing to do that kind of, and you kind of see it or hear it, and it rubs off on you. You kind of,
Mhm.
just take it in as, it's like memory, and it's like, and store it someplace, kind of like everybody does when they, listen to a Zeppelin song, or, and go, I got to use that riff somewhere. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
they finally put it in, some riff, some song that they're doing, but it's,
Mm.
it's kind of like one of those things you learn, over the years, just uh, uh, the things that other people have done, and you kind of acquire some of it, so it kind of keeps your flow going, you know what I mean, as far as
Mhm.
like, like keeping you interested in things, because I
Yeah.
know now I can get disinterested really quick. I mean, I live at the beach here, you know, and I'm just telling you, it's 10 feet away, and you know, at times I'm going, hey, I'm just a beach bum. That's what I want to be. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
I want to study to be a beach bum, and
Yeah.
so I feel like just going outside and just saying, yeah, okay, and I'm going to get a ukulele and you know,
Yeah, man.
start
Absolutely.
start hanging out.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's also a
but
form
it's
of beach bum here, so yeah, I can understand that absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I mean, it really has its point of interest. Believe me.
Yeah, I know. I know, I know, I know. I've been there. I've been there back in my youth. So yeah. Um, all right, so then if you get in a time machine and go back to your early days as a budding musician, which bit of advice would you give yourself?
um, don't get any managers. I was fine with everything until I got managers.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And after managers, I mean, they the only thing they do is, I mean, they're like politicians of, like, and I mean, it's like they'll take your money and give you a reason why they stole it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's it's too, pragmatic for me. I don't have any managers. I'm just telling you, don't. I mean, and agents are right up there with child molesters. You know what I mean? It's like, they're just,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of, that's
Fair
the
comment,
advice
mate.
I would definitely give myself.
Okay. So obviously, like you've done stage shows, you've produced and been working with some fantastic musicians in your time. So, but what would you say has been your proudest moment ever?
Uh,
Sorry, I've got my cat here. She's being a little pest.
oh, that's a great. I got mine. She's outside. She's going.
She usually jumps on my shoulder. She's called
Isn't it?
Tabitha. She's a little black minx. She's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
kept seeing me doing
Um,
this. I'm stroking my cat.
I think one of the coolest times was actually, you know, about mid '80s, when just before the Heartbreak album. I was working on the Ann Margaret show in Vegas, and I didn't know. I mean, before I worked with her, I didn't know how big she was. As far
Mm,
as like big,
yeah.
but she was the highest entertainer in Vegas. I mean, ever paid.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I mean, everybody else had this stuff going on. I mean, they had laser shows that were 5 watts, and usually laser shows are about half a watt. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so I mean, they were
Yeah.
they were carrying on this stuff that was like, just out of this, century for, just staging. And I got the award for, entertainer of the year for, because I did all the music for stuff. And so I
Mhm.
got the award for her, and I took my mom to Vegas, which is, was one of those things. And so she got to see me get this award that like, was like pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the coolest times.
Wow.
Because I mean, awards. I mean, I've gotten a lot of stuff, and I mean, I don't even keep gold records or anything. So those kind of things they just take up room to me. I mean, it's like, because especially when you think of, like, when you see platinum and gold records all over. I mean,
Mhm.
every attorney in the world has all the same ones. You know what I mean? Because you can
Yeah.
buy them. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
and you don't know if the guy actually. Yeah, I didn't know. You don't even know if the guy actually worked on the stuff. You know what I mean? But they have them. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, I mean, they it was ridiculous, just the, the amount of people, and they were kind of meaningless, but more of the awards that actually meant something, you know what I mean, that
Mhm.
you don't see too often.
Mhm.
But that's, you know, that was probably the coolest time as far as, just having somebody around it, because my mom, had a pretty rough life. And so, it was kind of cool seeing her
Mhm.
happy.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, I mean, we're in September now, nearly October. So, what does the rest of the year hold out for you, Paul Sabo, and going into 2024, crazy, 2024, and are there plans to get over to Europe, do some shows or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that I mean my plans right now are just I'm just writing, for the next album. I
Mm.
mean I started, like 3 weeks ago, and I'm just kind of woodshedding it into things. I got, some really cool stuff, and I'm kind of doing this one alone
Right, okay.
because I just, rather than, having any influences at all, I want to kind of experiment around and screw around,
Hmm.
because sometimes those kind of things make you, more inspired than working with, different guys, over the internet.
Yeah,
And it gets old, kind of, because I get so much stuff, you know, thrown to me that way anyway, that,
yeah,
fix. I mean, I feel more like a plumber half the time, fixing everybody's stuff. But I'm glad. I mean, I'm thankful
yeah.
I get to do it. And but
Uh-huh.
I just kind of I want to try, screwing around with some stuff that I haven't done before,
Hmm.
and just see what I come up with. But other than that, I'm going to do that. I'm doing that now, and until we get, like, until the world, gets back on, track, and quits, worrying about all this shit that's going on.
Hmm.
It's, and I mean, we're all, your country, all of our countries are, like, paying for wars we don't even know about. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like, and so, and we're having to, like, pay 15 times the taxes and
Yeah.
work twice as hard to pay for something I mean, to me, I should have a tank outside, or something, that I, like, that I think I paid for. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
and I go, I really think I deserve one. You know what I mean? It's like, just to have it. But they don't give them out. Like, so I I'm hoping that, when some presidential thing happens, that the kind of the weirdness will be over, and music will get back to music.
Let's hope so, man.
So I'm kind
Absolutely.
of hoping,
Absolutely.
I'm kind of,
Yeah, it's crazy days.
that's it. I'm just,
It's
yeah.
crazy days. It really is. All right, so it's going to be five questions now. So it's going to be either or either. So the first one is vinyl or digital?
Oh, vinyl.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, I can do that blindfolded.
Because of where you are, chili or beer?
Uh, yeah, I have to go to Chile because I don't really drink a lot of beer, So I mean, they have a lot of beer here, but I mean, the chili mixes they got here are to die for, seriously.
All right. Third one is festival or intimate gig? Small intimate gig.
Um, Festivals I like better.
Okay. Are you a saint or a sinner?
Uh, yeah, definitely Saint.
Saint Paul.
Uh, You you live longer.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And the final one, bit contentious then. Okay, so I asked Donald Trump or Kermit the Frog?
Um, I would anybody anybody who would get the copyright law enforced again,
Right,
so that basically music could go on, because the problem is there's no copyright law now. So
right.
if it was the frog, I'd go with the frog. If it was Trump, I'd go with Trump. I'd go, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Bob, you know, the builder. I don't care. You know what I mean? It could be, anybody, just SpongeBob, anybody, I don't care what it is. Just, it's like they don't have any copyright laws now. So I mean,
That's
everybody can do anything.
insane.
You can steal anything, and it's just because it's just like, the
Pretty
police are
cool.
the same way. Uh, they just don't do anything about anything because they're worried about getting hurt
Getting hurt.
because
Yeah.
nobody's
Yeah.
going to help them.
Welcome to
You
the
know?
world of wokeness. Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. It's horrendous. It's horrendous.
yeah.
Right. Nearly out of time on this interview, mate. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. I thank you for your patience. We got there in the end. It's been great to chat to you. Do you have any final words for your fans, our viewers, and listeners?
Well, just that I love you. Thank you. I need the work, and I appreciate it.